Hey everybody, it's Beverly with Bama Blind, and I'm outside. It's, maybe 10 p.m., but my husband is with me, Jerry, and Gretchen, who is a German Shepherd, and she's very protective. So we're just going to walk to the end of the block and possibly back again. It's cooling off a little bit, and we had an earlier scare of a tornado warning, which we rarely have in January. But since Gretchen hasn't been out at all today, she really needs to walk maybe toward the end of the block and then back again. And Jerry, you're back there with us, right?
Yes.
It's kind of dark. It's kind of dark, but it's very cool. It's not humid, and it's kind of breezy. And I've got on dark pants, dark shoes with white soles, and a white shirt, which Jerry always tells me that I'm supposed to wear when I go out, after sundown, because you really need to be seen by everybody else. Now, as you can tell, there's no traffic on the street, and Gretchen is just kind of creeping along, and she keeps periodically looking back at Jerry. She knows that I'm the blind person, but she thinks of Jerry as like her dad. So now I can hear a car that just accelerated through the intersection. I would guess it's about 30 yards away. I don't know if you can see that car right there, but in my estimation, it's about 25 yards away. And we're just walking. It's really breezy out here, and what we've heard from our weather advisory is that by tonight it should be down to below freezing, which, for a lot of you is nothing. But for us in Alabama, below freezing, we start, bringing in our tropical plants, certainly our animals. Now, here we are at a four-way intersection, and I'm going to check back with Jerry and see if he wants to continue or if he wants to turn around and go back. Now, if we continue forward, we'll be going down to Main Street, where there are restaurants and pubs and, things like that. If we turn around and go back, we will be going to our house, but we certainly haven't been that far. So let me check with Jerry. So what's you want to go forward? Would you like to go forward? We could go to the next block since there's no cars. Let's go. Forward, Gretchen. And Jerry needs the exercise. I shouldn't say that. He works out like every other day at the gym, at the real gym. And I basically walk Gretchen. Sometimes I do Pilates on a Pilates machine, but I'm not like Jerry, who works out every other day with weights and aerobics and that kind of thing. So I'm probably not in as good a shape as he is, even though I have to admit that 2 days ago I had a thing called an advanced heart scan, which is a CT scan, and the doctor called me after my scan. It's something that you just pay for. Your insurance doesn't pay for it, but unless you need it, and I didn't have any indications that I needed it. But the radiologist called me after the procedure, after I was at home, and said, I need to speak to blah, 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 blah. and your date of birth is blah, 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 blah. And is that who I'm speaking to? And I said, yes, you are. And he said, well, I can, this is one of the wonderful calls that I make because I can tell you that it appears on radiology that you have the heart of an 18-year-old. And I said, what? And he said, yeah. He said, this is kind of the phone call that I like to make, where I can tell the patient that there's no blockage, there's no heart defect, there's no abnormalities, and it appears that you have the heart of an 18-year-old. So I said, oh, that's awesome. That is just awesome. So that makes me want to keep going and doing the same things that I'm doing, which in my opinion is, walking with Gretchen. Now, she hasn't been out all day, so that's why we're walking. And we had a tornado warning, and I am happy to say that, we avoided any problems with that. Here we are at the crosswalk, and I'm just going to sit and wait because I think this person is probably looking at me like I'm going to cross, and I'm not because I'm waiting for Jerry. No, Gretchen, we're going to halt, Gretchen. But anyway, we hid under our dining room table. You could hear thunder and wind, and I don't know if there's lightning or not because our dining room was on the interior of the house. So anyway, we fared very well. Although in our next county, in the city of Wetumpka, which is an Indian name, Wetumpka is a city in Alabama that has the largest crater, I think, on Earth. They do a lot of different things with it, every year, and having people that that go to it and look at it, and scientists that examine it. But it's a crater that was made from an asteroid millions of years ago. But I think it's the biggest crater that has been measured on Earth. So in that town, which is Wetumpka, they did have some tornadic damage, and we're lucky not to have had that. So anyway, I'm getting Gretchen out to get her walk in, and I'm very familiar with this area of town. I don't know if you can see it or not, because under normal human sight, this is really, really dark. My husband Jerry has told me that. My kids, have told me that. My granddaughter has told me that. Gretchen hasn't told me that because she thinks it's, well lit. She's got lots of rods in her eyes, which allow her to see in darkened areas. But this is right now I'm in an area that I'm very familiar with. It's very cold out here. I would guess it's about maybe 35 degrees. And that's kind of cold for Alabama. Sometimes we get down to freezing, and people around here that are native to this area have to take precautions. Nearby we have an Air Force base where, there are people from all over the world. So they're not really, stuck to the idea of our Alabama weather and, you know, atmosphere, things like that. And I've lived in Nebraska. My husband was stationed in Nebraska when we were first married. And trust me, I would be out here with a big, thick coat, hat, mittens, or gloves, boots with insulation. And I've basically got Keds on. I mean, not Keds, but Skechers. And I've got a shirt on over an insulated shirt. I don't even have a coat on. Good girl. Good girl, Gretchen. She's crossing the street. She knows where she is. Of course, almost being 10 o'clock at night, you know, I probably wouldn't do this unless I felt pretty comfortable with my own neighborhood. And that's one of the huge benefits of having a guide dog. Pointing down at Gretchen right now, she's a German Shepherd and she looks pretty self-reliant. If I were here with a cane walking at 10 o'clock at night, I would look vulnerable. But here walking at night with a German Shepherd, you know, I look pretty safe. So that's about all I can say about that. And that we survived the, come on Gretchen, we survived the tornado. Let's see what she's doing here. Come on Gretchen, let's go. She's stopping at a fence, at a cyclone fence. And I'm sure she smelled some sort of animal, but it's really dark and it's really starting to get cold as I'm holding this, the iPhone. So I think I will tell you good night, everyone. And I hope you have a great night. And until I post again, then I'll say goodbye. Stop recording video. View file.